Hi there, Simeon. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. That was
Right.
so good.
Simeon, there's so many comments have flooded in about that presentation. And in fact,
Oh,
everybody is saying it's so powerful, it's so inspiring that the world needs more people like yourself. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for that. But I've got a few extra questions for you that have come in that are really, really good. I'm going to sort of aggregate quite a few of them because a few questions are asking about your time in prison. But there's a first one I want to ask from Jackie Griffin. Did your school take any action to support you? Could it have done anything to change your path?
did what? Sorry.
Could your school have done anything to change your path in life?
Um, do you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think so because they didn't have what was they didn't have what was needed. Like, so for me, I would have needed within my school people like myself around that I needed people that to shape someone to shape myself off. I needed examples of what I'm supposed to be. So like for me within the school system, um, so even so there's two things within the school system. I think we need more positive male role models. In the schools, it's mainly female teachers, and not to say that they can't teach or they can't um they can't set rules, but in terms of me shaping myself up and okay having a role model, there's not that much for me. And then also I believe within the school system we need to start teaching the things that I was speaking about. Like I think it's if so I always ask a question because I have a firm belief that our way of thinking defines the outcomes of our life. Your way of thinking will define your outcomes of your life. It totally controls who you're going to be and where you're going to end up, your way of thinking. Now, if that is the case, in the schools, why are we not teaching children from a very young age to consciously think about the way they think based on where they want to go? Like this needs to be, and I don't think it needs to be a project or a lesson. It needs to be a subject that you teach all the way throughout your life, because even now I'm still learning and programming, making sure that I'm taking on the proper programming based on the way I want my life to be.
Right. There's food for thought there, isn't there? Good heavens. I know there are a few teachers actually in the audience today, so I think they'll be taking that on board. Quite a lot of questions, Simeon, about prison, such as, and I'll aggregate a few, Dave Irwin, Ray Melody, and a few more. Was there anything then that could have been changed in prison? And what would you like to see happen for inmates in a similar position to yourself?
Exactly the same thing.
Right.
Prison. So prison is really, it's supposed to be about rehabilitation. There's no rehabilitation in jail. The only rehabilitation in jail is if you really want to change your life and you start to do these things to change yourself. Like that's still for myself. So I think the whole prison system needs to be reformed, reshaped in a way where its main focus is around shaping your character. Like they do silly things like you have to walk and tuck your shirt in. Like you grown men, you have to tuck your shirt in now. It's not none of these rules or rules that they have within the prison system help to change a person's way of thinking, help to change your character. And that is what at the end of the day is going to stop you from coming back out and committing crimes. Something has to tick where you want to change. I have to change my life, so I'm going to start changing, and you begin to change your way of thinking. So for me, the whole prison system needs to be reshaped. It needs to be reformed. All of it. All we need to scrap it and change the way it's run totally. If we want to see change, because I guarantee if prison was about reshaping the minds of inmates and there was a focus on that was the main focus, we would get far less inmates going back. We would totally change we would totally change everything.
Actually, that covers off a question from Dave Irwin, who wanted to know what kind of support you got, or were you just sent back to the same situation? There's quite a few questions coming in at the moment asking, what's the role of organisations like Rotary or the church even in helping in areas? Have you got any experience of groups stepping in to help?
I'm going to be honest, though, I've got bad experience with the churches. The churches don't have. I think even the churches don't want to be involved, especially when it's like it's a risk and it could be trouble. They don't want to get their hands dirty. That's my experience of the church. In terms of Rotary, I believe we need more awareness because, and if I wasn't part of this event today, I wouldn't have known that this was happening. So I think more awareness needs to be happening in the right places where, like, okay, that talk, I was watching that talk back. For me, that was emotional. And I've never watched myself back before, and it's been like that. That was really emotional for me. Now, if the right people see that, something like that will touch minds differently. So I think more awareness and more active, playing an active role in the community where it matters, and not just in the community of the church then per se.
Well, Rotarians on this Zoom call, there's a lot to think about there. How do we groom for positivity? Chris Cutting asks.
So my big thing at the moment is like media, social media, music, the arts. Those are the biggest tool for shaping minds. We've seen some perfect examples in the last 12 months where I give you some perfect examples. So when COVID-19 came around, for the first few months, there was loads of fear around everyone leaving the house, people were scared to go to their mother's house and things like that. And then the situation with George Floyd happened, and within the space of a day, everyone was protesting. Nobody was thinking about COVID-19, and everyone was together again and meeting again. Now I'm sitting back and watching how easy it is to create a mass way of thinking. Now, I think we need to be putting resources into positively shaping the minds of the world, society, young people, because right now, like we said, we've got games like Grand Theft Auto, and we've got the things that are on YouTube that young people are watching, shaping their minds right now. So when children are when young men are 15, they're totally desensitized from carrying a knife and stabbing someone, because for the last 3-4 years, they've been running around in the virtual world, shooting and stabbing people. So I think we need to start to strategically develop things around media, the arts, and then also just around everyday ways of life that help shape the ways of thinking of our people.
There's a lot of people agreeing with you there, Simeon. I've got lots of comments coming in about video game influence and how international governments need to start working with the powerful entities like Facebook. So there's an awful lot of people agreeing with you there. There's another question just come in that goes back to schools. When you visit schools, do you think a multidisciplinary approach would help? For example, taking a police officer, a probation officer, and a social worker along to do a presentation and discussion?
No, if I'm going to be honest. No, because like the children will listen. Well, are you going to relate to them? Is it going to change? Is it going to reshape their mind? I mean, even myself going into school. So now I'm actually going for a period where I'm not actually going into schools that much normal, because I've lost too many youth. If I'm going to be honest, I'm only in a school for 12 weeks at a time, so I could see brilliant changes within those 12 weeks. But when I'm gone, and they're no longer around me, or even if I'm mentoring someone, like I could mentor someone for 6 months, like, and we see them weekly, then you start to see them a month and a month-to-month basis, then you don't really see them no more. Like, and it's not that once like 12 months isn't long enough to totally reshape someone's way of thinking and develop positive character traits to set them up for life. Like, so we need a whole new way of looking at things and addressing these issues. Like for me, it doesn't even work no more for me. I'm losing youth because I'm working with someone for 12 weeks and then I'm gone. I'm at another school working with another group. This is something that is needed continuously. There needs to be 1,000 of me, millions that are just all up, like, you know.
Yeah. Could actually, somebody's just said that you can keep going because you can make a difference.
I am. I definitely. They can't. This is my mission now. Like, okay, so I have I have what I call a gang banging mentality. I'm a bit of a warrior. So for me to leave that fight, I've literally taken up another fight. I'm still gang banging right now, but I'm banging for positivity and righteousness and the upliftment of my community. Like, I go hard for it. I go hard, like, I've been the experiences that I've had, even when I first started and I said I was under pressure, I've had people pull out guns on me and say, you need to stop doing what you're doing. Like, I'm battling still now, but that was 6 years ago. Like, now it's there's a big turnaround now. Like I said in the video, the community is ready for it. Even like my old friends, they're ready for it. Like, I can see the change. Everybody wants change.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to take.
Most definitely.
Yeah. There's somebody here as a police officer, and he's Martin Carter, and he says he's often worked with people like yourself. The process can be very powerful, but officers have to be trained to work with young people and have appropriate skill sets. So it goes back to that training issue and setting examples. But that leads into a question again from Jackie Griffin again. Do you think the police system is now racist?
Can I not answer that question?
Yeah, it's entirely up to you not to answer.
It's not the police, you know, it's just the system. It's the whole system. Our whole system is unconsciously racist, like, and that's no single person to blame. The system that we have is hundreds of years old, which was actually developed on the basis of racism. So it's kind of that. I just want to answer, I just want to make a comment to the police officers, which is going to be really funny, because I'm going to say yes, police officers certainly do need to be trained, and we're going to make an issue of it, because what you're not going to believe, guys, is that when we made the video, I had come out of the police station. I was arrested the night before for filming, and I'd gone to the police, gave them a big explanation, told them what I was doing, told them who I was. But because of, I feel like they had, like, who are you to tell us what you do? Like, I was governing the situation in terms of this is what we're doing and all the rest of it. I even gave them my name and says, radio my name through, check it out. I'm sure everything will be okay, because I'm known like that. The work that I do is known. I sit around the tables when they're developing strategies around knife crime and youth violence. So I'm just trying to get the guy to register my name, take it through. I ended up getting into an altercation and I was arrested. No charges or nothing. I haven't been arrested for years. And imagine, I got arrested on that night. I was hoping, I got out of the police station on time. I think I went home, washed my face, brushed my teeth. I didn't get changed and I came straight out and we made the video. So my answer to the police officer, please, let's push that initiative because I was very reasonable. I can be aggressive as well. I've still got that in me, but I was very reasonable. And imagine people that don't have my way of thinking, that don't self-regulate, don't check their self, and are just in the program that was developed years ago. And we need police officers are supposed to be able to deal and manage these situations where really I got arrested for nothing, to the point where I spoke to officers after through work, and I was telling them, and it was like, oh, I can't believe. I said, we got it on video, and it was like, oh, I swear, Zim, I can't believe. I'm saying, and at first I thought, I'm saying, and it was like, this is so bad, and they know this is so bad for them because of how it looks. So please, yes, we need to push that initiative and allow there to a relationship to develop between the police and the community, but the police need to start seeing, the community needs to start seeing the police in a good light first.
We've only got about 3 or 4 minutes left, I think. So a couple more questions. Do you think redesigning our history curriculum in schools, especially with the issues around Black Lives Matter, would be a positive move? Tony Blackshaw asks.
I'm going to be honest. So I've seen something about this. Yeah, I've seen something about this. And my first thought was no, because I don't want the history that they're going to teach us. Unless they're going to teach the true history. I'm a fan of history. So I've studied my own history, very detailed, very, very detailed. So, and I'm going to say, unless we're going to give it, then no. If we're going to teach Black history from a European perspective, no. That's just being honest.
And Ray Melody says, could you run a program where you teach others to do the work that you do?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. Like, to be fair, that's what we want. That's what I want to do, because like I said, I'm doing less mentoring work and I'm doing less work within schools because I want to make a bigger impact. Now, that work still needs to be done. So even part of a service that I'm developing at the moment, in partnership with the authorities, so that is going to be, we're going to be training a group of men and women within the Birmingham area to kind of do that same kind of work. So most definitely, yes.
Well, I think all the Rotarians and non-Rotarians who are on this call, there's an awful lot there to think about. And I think there's quite a few things that people could get involved in to actually help you and help others. Simeon, I'm going to hand over to Rory in a moment, but can I just say personally, it's been a real pleasure meeting you when we came to film and today. And you have just been absolutely brilliant. So thank you ever so much. But I'm now going to play musical chairs and hand over to Rory.
All right.
Yes, thanks, Simeon. Yeah, me too. It was great to meet with you a couple of weeks ago in Birmingham on a lovely sunny day. Thank you so much for a fantastic presentation. I wish you all the best in your music and DATS TV ventures, using the arts to convey your truly important messages. We've put some links to these on our conference website, and ladies and gentlemen, you'll also find in the breakout room someone to talk to you with information about a charity, Stand Against Violence, which is very much linked to the issues about which Simeon has talked. Simeon, you have given us food for thought. Don't be the product of your environment. Let your environment be the product of you. Your session highlights the issues which can happen in deprived areas. And we have a presentation coming up after our break about a project making a difference in an area of deprivation in Taunton. Now, let's have a short comfort break. Go and grab a coffee or water if you follow Bev's advice in the warm-up session, and return to learn about the beverage you're drinking. Coming up after a presentation on the Halcombe project. Please return at 10 to 12. Thank you very much.